Hello everyone. Today I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Bravely Default 2 demo, the final demo that was released recently. I had a chance to play it. Just a little heads up before I go into it. Bravely Default is my favorite game of all time. Bravely Second was a good sequel. Didn't top the first game obviously, but I enjoyed it a lot as well, and it's basically a direct sequel to Bravely Default. So don't get confused. Bravely Default 2 is supposed to be its own separate story. I haven't seen, from what we've seen in terms of world map, it's not much. So I can't assume that it's on a different planet or a different continent or anything. But I think it is. I think it's going to be its own story. But the reason why I don't fully know is I'm trying not to look too much into the story, just because I don't want spoilers for myself. But I did want to test out the gameplay, and that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. So first things first, just going to talk about what my experience was. It was very good overall. A lot of issues came up, not issues, but just concerns I have for when the game releases. So first off, let me just talk a little bit about combat. It's very similar yet very different, okay? So if you're used to the Bravely Default and Bravely Second combat system, you're going to notice with this one, so far from what I've seen, is very different. In the sense that in Bravely Default, you controlled, when it was your turn, you controlled your whole team, basically. You did all your moves for your characters one after another, no matter what order they were in. So let's say you had Tiz first, Adia second, so on and so forth. Ring a bell, Agnes. You set your order before. That's the order that you're gonna execute for your turn. And from what I'm looking in Bravely Default 2, is that's sort of not really the case. It's like I noticed when it would be, I think Seth is the main character's name, or by default. No pun intended. If you brave, you can stack the brave and do a bunch of moves in a row. No problem, that's normal. And if you default, it defaults right away. And that ends his turn. So basically what's happening here is it's a per character move. So after Seth does whatever he needs to do, either if he's defaulting or if he's braving and does his move, then it could be a mob's turn, and you have to wait to set up moves for the rest of your party. In a way, I don't like this because it makes combat longer than it needs to be. And what was really, really cool and convenient about the first two games was that you were able to, plan ahead and basically set up like a repeat pattern, so that late game you can, it becomes easier to farm. Yeah, if you're farming a specific type of mob, you have all these pre-moves planned out so that it goes smoother. But this way, it's one at a time, and like for no reason, and it makes it way harder to predict what's coming. Like you can't visually see a turn order either. From what I noticed anyway. I could be wrong, but this is just like from my experience. I was kind of like taken aback. I was like, whoa, okay. But the job system is still there, and in my opinion, I think it's been improved on. So in the previous games, you would have one job, which is basically a class that you would main, and that would go really, really well. And you can main other jobs, other classes, and equip passives from all the different jobs you master along the way. In this game, it's very, very cool. In combat, you can use moves. You basically have your main job, and you have a sub job, or like a secondary job. So this is very cool. You have dual classing in this game. So I think that's, so far I haven't seen any problems with that. That's really, really cool. And then for the rest of combat, I mean, I only played like 30 minutes. The demo gives you 5 hours on a timer. But I only played 30 minutes because I didn't want to spoil myself. All story stuff I bumped into, I just kind of skipped ahead. So I did a few encounters, and that was pretty much it. What I noticed from this demo compared to the last one I played, I feel like the look has been fixed a lot. Like, I don't know if it was just me, but the graphics first time around in the first demo that I played, I was like, oh, this is like, it's very different, it's weird. But this time around, it felt more natural in a way. It's hard to describe, but it wasn't as like obnoxious. Like I grew to like it in a way. So the look of the game is really good. In the first city that you walk in the demo, very, very nice. The way you could like zoom out, see everything. The only thing that's a little weird is when you walk into buildings, it's kind of like sudden. It kind of zooms in, and then you walk out the door, boom, zooms out again. So it's like a little strange, but like it's pretty smooth regardless. Talking to NPCs, that's very, very nice. If you zoom out, you can see like where all of the different areas in the city are. So like, you know, the inn, shops and all that. But I find the icons are just a little too small. That's just a little what I think. They could be just a little bigger. But I was playing in handheld mode, so maybe if it was upscaled on my TV or something, wouldn't have been so bad. I'm just gonna drink some tea here. But yeah, the look of the game is really good. Something I noticed, which I'm actually not a fan of, is they seem to have added side quests in the game. Now, the reason why I don't like that is because in the first game and the sequel, the story content itself was just so rich that you didn't really need to have side quests. You know, progress in the story, farm along the way, like, you know, just a regular JRPG, and everything's fine, you know. And that's why I like Bravely Default and Bravely Second, because the story was just, for me, out of this world. You know, not just that, a bunch of other things, but just talking about story here. I find like when you start introducing side quests where you got, oh, okay, go collect all this, okay, go kill 3 of this mob, and it kind of like, it sidetracks you for no reason. You know, if the story's amazing, why sidetrack me? And I find like that's just, I don't know, Western RPGs do this a lot of the time as well. Like, not JRPG wise, I'm saying like, I don't know, for an example, Assassin's Creed or anything like that, you know, oh, like go over here, do this, and I don't really, I don't like that. You know, I did one of the side quests. It was like collect 3 seashells or whatever. I was like, okay, fine. And they tell you where on the map to go, so it's not like you have to. It's not annoying to find everything. But I turned in this quest. I got 500 of the currency. I forget what it's called. And I was like, all right, let me go sleep at an inn. And the inn cost me like 125 or 150 gold. So I'm like, well, what's the point of like running around the world map doing this like stupid side quest? I barely made any money from that. Like if you need to like buy anything, or like, I probably could have made more money farming some mob for like, you know, a few minutes, and I made way more money. That's just my my opinion. I really don't like the types of side quests that were shown. They were very like, oh, go over here and grab this type of stuff. Hopefully there can be some where they're more character focused, like more story focused, because that's more interesting. In Bravely Default and Bravely Second, yeah, you had secondary quests, but they were to go and fight people to get their jobs, to basically gain new classes. So and the people you were fighting had such rich backstories. And that's what I liked about Bravely Default, is you'd go out of your way to do these side quests, but you'd get really invested in the characters you meet along the way, that, you know, you question yourself throughout the game, like, oh my god, like these characters have such story. Like, I felt bad, you know, like trying to just kill them and getting and gearing up basically. So I hope that side quests don't ruin the game. So far, I was just kind of like, don't like this. It's a very like Xenoblade style thing, right? Like, you're gonna probably pick up a bunch of side quests and just never do them, because you're just not gonna feel like walking around to pick stuff up and barely get rewarded for it. So So that's like one of the issues I saw so far. And let me just think for a second while I sip this tea. Any other issues? Oh, yeah, the menu system. Really, really nice. When you open up your inventory, or just like, you press up the party menu, that screen could use some work in my opinion. I don't really like the style of it, but all the menus inside it are awesome. Like, they look really, really cool. The bag, like the backpack menu, that looks kind of meh. But everything else looks really, really cool. Like the character menus, the job menus, all that stuff is really, really cool. I really like the look of it. The equipment menu is probably my favorite. That looks really, really good. Anything else I want to talk about? Basically, yeah. So for the story, I walked around where it kind of wanted me to go, like to the castle in the town. Had a look at the characters, but I basically skipped all the dialogue. I listened to a little bit of voice acting. Sounds good. It's not obviously, like, I just didn't really care for it too much. I just kind of want to get through basic gameplay stuff. Didn't want to spoil anything for me. So those are basically the immediate thoughts that come to me on the final demo. Let me know what you guys think if you had a chance to play it. It's free right now. Go pick it up and come back here. Let me know what you think. If you're fans of Bravely Default and Bravely Second, let me know how you think it compares. Like I mentioned in this video, a lot of issues I have so far. More concerns. I just don't want it to be a grind fest, and I don't want them to take away from the story. Because in this one they're bringing back, the great composer, so the music's gonna be awesome. Revo is doing that, and that was another thing about Bravely Default that I really loved, was having Revo compose all that soundtrack. Like, absolutely phenomenal. And in Bravely in Bravely Second, what they did is they didn't have him, but they had, I don't remember if it was it Supercell or someone else? I don't remember, but what they did is they took some of those songs from the original, did some remixes, and it was good. It wasn't as good, but it was good. So I'm looking forward to this game because they're bringing back Revo for the music. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's part of Linked Horizon, who basically writes the music for anime openings, like all the Attack on Titan openings. It's all him. So that's gonna be really, really awesome. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, that's it. Thanks.